Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and it seems like firearms are becoming more popular on YouTube as you could imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about Andrew Tate Jr., Andrew Tate Light, as you all may have heard, Sneako. Now, of course, plenty of other channels in the commentary space have talked about Sneako, and two of my favorite channels in particular, Turkey Tom and Willie Mac Show, have made their own videos that are absolute bangers that you should go watch. If you wanted to kill your brain cells for over an hour, those are some videos. But I wanted to look into it because I kind of want this to be sort of the end for a personal journey. For over a year, I've been looking into the red pill, manosphere world, you know, the incel space, and I've kind of been trying to understand and really figure out every aspect of it. I've really been researching this pretty hardcore. And honestly, ever since Andrew Tate, Sneako has sort of been the final dying breed of this, or sort of the last holdout, and honestly, after this video, I kind of want my own personal journey to come to an end. Now, are we talking about Sneako? Well, in the last few days, if you follow Sneako, you probably know that he picked a fight with a good friend of our channel, Moist Critical, Charlie. Now, of course, to get you a quick historical background on this, he was obviously picking on Charlie for his relationship, and generally Sneako was basically trying to bait out a larger channel and use the engagement to fuel his own crappy courses. And that's pretty much where the story kind of leads to. Now, of course, Charlie comes in it pretty much throwing a goddamn wrench into Sneako's plan and killing the man's career in one fell swoop. Now, forever, if you look up the word cuck, I feel like they should always have Sneako's face next to it, given the fact that he's pretty much become the most attributed meme to the derogatory word in the last 24 hours, 48 hours. You know, literally, I have not stopped seeing the meme, every hotel got that Sneako chair. I wanted to go over a few things. Obviously, in Charlie's response, one of the most meme-tacular moments was when, after Charlie made his first video like 3 months ago, Sneako, basically in his stream, whipped out a loaded firearm and started waving it around like an absolute pussy. Now, of course, if you look to the right, you'll see all of Sneako's detractors. As he claims, this is what Sneako likes to say, pattern recognition. These are all the bots in today's society. So it's funny how Sneako brought up like Hassan Nabi and like, you know, Critical. When I know Hassan at least could rip Sneako's ass apart, given the fact that he's probably got 3 times the weight on him in muscle. And of course, you've got Tom, you've got a bunch of other channels, friends of the show, so to speak. And of course, he basically says that he's the one true alpha red pill Chad. So of course, in this video, he brings out a firearm, starts loading it around. I'm going to assume this is a loaded firearm, as everybody in the firearm safety world should absolutely think. So he's moving around like a little baby. Now, of course, in this, ladies and gentlemen, he does one more thing where he showcases the magazine of the gun.
Watch my clips. Watch my clips. Watch my clips.
Oh! Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we like to call the rookie I'm a Call of Duty gamer mistake. Those are not clips, those are magazines. Obviously, some pistols load clips. Those pistols are incredibly old and are considered antiques. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, I sometimes have had a firearm item appear on my channel. But of course, one thing is, these are not real firearms. I've seen people mention this constantly, and to be honest, I kind of want to demystify anytime you've seen a gun on my channel. This, ladies and gentlemen, is in fact a CO2 airsoft gun. You can tell because the magazine in it loads actual BB guns. I would never have a loaded firearm outside of a safe just so I can parade it around in front of a camera because somebody on the internet hurt my feelings. Thank God Sneako lives in the United States of America, where a firearm is more considered a right than a privilege, and they'll let him keep it given the fact that he's shown some of the worst trigger discipline and some of the worst gun safety imaginable. Sneako would probably believe even a rifle, this is airsoft by the way too, would absolutely have in fact a clip. These are magazines for sure, and Charlie definitely schooled him on firearms. I will go a step further and say if somebody on the internet makes you so mad that you whip out a loaded gun and start parading it around, I'm gonna assume a loaded firearm, you are mentally unwell and you need to get fucking checked. And honestly, I'll go a step further and say your gun should probably be taken away because you've clearly proven that you are in fact such a beta male that somebody on the internet made you so mad that you whipped out an actual loaded firearm. Now, the thing about Sneako is Sneako's been around the internet for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, some of his earliest videos was literally commentary videos over Black Ops 2. He's been around the game for that long. And of course, this is back when he was talking about just video games and politics and so on and so forth. And I think at this point you could kind of tell that these were just standard generic videos, and some of them did have a moment where Sneako, in his younger age, was definitely more critical and definitely applied some proper rationale into some of his points. Of course, lately in the last 2 years, Sneako has become such a red pill clone bot that all of his thinking pretty much relies on that level. One of the things you might have heard of is the cuckolding allegations for Sneako. Now, Sneako, being an alpha man, is somebody that loves to be critical of other people's relationships, when knowing full well he was in a bad relationship, maybe still currently is in a bad relationship, especially when he's had a cuckold-like experience where he was sharing his girlfriend. Now, I'm not one to criticize somebody's relationship. I think that's pretty cringe. I have a pretty standard view of relationship, one person for one person, and generally I'm not sharing my partner and vice versa, okay? I have a pretty traditional view on things. I'm a very big trad, so I tend to live my life that way. I'm never gonna judge somebody for being in an open relationship. I might think it's just friends with benefits, maybe some extra steps attached to it, but to each their own. The reason why we can make fun of Sneako doing this is he so obviously is insecure about his relationship, and he projects that onto other people. Listen to this clip.
Equality.
That's balance. So if it's gonna happen, I might as well see it, supervise it, make sure everything's okay.
Wait, what? No, you didn't have to jump to that conclusion.
Well, I don't. It's worse.
Right now.
It's worse if it happens behind my back. Like I don't want it.
It's not. But y'all are both knowing that it's happening.
So it's never behind your back anymore. You just gotta know.
I gotta see it.
It don't need to be literally in front of you.
It was literally like this far away from me.
Can you have a mental
What?
image of your girl getting fucked by another
So Twice, yeah.
Hold on.
Wait, how close
times.
was it?
We were on the same bed. I was with his girl. He was with my girl.
You
like right
was
here.
on the bed?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
So what do they call that? Like after the sword club, you get like a
They call that
sweating
odd.
award?
That's what they call it. You're odd. You sat on the bed while she got.
I was there too. I mean,
You was
we
naked?
was both. I got up.
Were you his girl?
I was not her.
So
now.
you just sat there Indian style with your feet
Y'all
crossed.
both just sat there.
Well, she was on top of me.
Girl,
She
you
was
watch
like,
your-
she was on, and I was just like not with it. And I saw her, and she was like, and I was like, that. And I just left the room, and then she left too. Like, luckily, I thought she
You're
was
a
gonna
mood
stay
killer,
there.
dog. Why you leave the room?
But I couldn't, like, it was, I was literally having PTSD watching that. I was like having war flash. Like I just could not do it.
So did they?
Flashbacks? What the fuck? Bro, there's a legit, like, no joke, there's probably like somebody who served like 10 years in like Afghanistan. Actually somebody that has full war flashbacks every day. You know, people from Nam or whatever, and this guy's comparing his like little cuckold experience to have, it must have been that bad, huh, that you're having like shell shock watching it. Now, of course, the reason why people criticize this relationship is obviously if you're going to joke about other people's relationships, people have full reign to joke about you. It's the internet. You're not getting canceled, Sneako. You're just getting laughed at, okay? That's pretty much what it comes down to. If you can dish out some punches, you can definitely take them. So, of course, people criticize this because as an alpha male red pill individual, you shouldn't be somebody that is a cuckold, which is like on the exact polar opposite of this red pill experience. And of course, Sneako being so, obviously hurt about the situation, people are obviously going to laugh at it, not just because of, you criticizing other people's relationships while not being in a healthy one of your own, but also doing the exact opposite of what a red pill male would do, okay? Simply putting it out there. You can't just bill yourself as this red pill, follower of Islam, traditional, like, men, you're a full man, all right, and then live a life like this. People are definitely going to call you out on your hypocrisy. Now, speaking of hypocrisy, Sneako has a great way of dealing with it every single day of his life. When even lately, Charlie, who basically plays the banter up, Sneako decides to go, little bro, duck the fight, and did debate lol. What debate? Well, of course, you can see Charlie responded and said, hey man, can you please calm down with these meltdowns for like another week? I'm doing another merch drop and would love to continue to use you for those. Obviously, he's making fun of him. Anybody living could probably assume that was just a joke. Of course, Sneako decides to go say commentary channels fence it so they never get canceled and rely on drama for AdSense dollars. As you, buddy, are relying on drama for your, Rumble dollars at this point, or pennies. I don't know how the whole ad rates work there either. Now, of course, what's funny about this is under every single post, he always tweets out the Creativity Kit 2.0. And one way that you can identify a bullshitter is when they start selling you these BS lifestyles. So, of course, if you refresh real quick, you can see that Sneako's sitting in what here? A Dodge I can tell by the actual. I can actually tell by the steering wheel. And then it zooms out to a Rolls Royce. I guess trying to like signify to his audience, who is pretty much like embryos at this point, that maybe you can stop Netflixing and start monetizing. Fun fact, one of my favorite Sneako videos is him trying to do donuts in a Charger and failing at it. All right, Liko, I'm going to show you how to actually do donuts in a modern muscle car. First off, you want to actually make sure you have one of these. Let's stop with the automatics, okay? Come on now. Be a man, drive with the standard. Second of all right, and usually in a vehicle, you're going to have traction controls. You want to make sure those are off so you don't keep doing stupid lefts, all right? That's what we're going to start off with. The rest, I'm sure you can figure out. Of course, if you scroll down over here, one thing that's funny to me is, of course, Sneako is selling a course where Sneako's secret strategies, how Sneako used to become a garnered the info that he knows to become a YouTuber and garner over 2 million subs and 1 billion views on the platform. Regardless of where you create, this blueprint will show you the fastest and best way to succeed. And of course, he teaches you how to become viral, and then of course learn with millionaire professors over Discord, I imagine, weekly coaching, a private community. And what kind of skills is Sneako teaching? He's teaching you how to get TikTok virality, web design, organic e-commerce. Woo! Once you get the e-commerce and sales and branding and the crypto and investments, stay far, far away. This course costs $50 a month, and all the information, I could guarantee my left nut just exists on the internet for you to go to. Now, of course, if you want to join a private Hugbox Discord community, be my guest. I assume some of the skills that Sneako is probably teaching is how to banter back to his critics over Discord. One good example is this right here. When Destiny called him out with when I'm in a cucked competition and my opponent is Sneako, he immediately goes into the Discord and says, quick, I need a response. Go to memes, everyone. Oh, that is just sad as fuck. God damn. And of course, what's funny about it too is he even continues even further with another group of YouTubers known as Abba and Preach, friends of the channel, love those guys. Send me clips in the memes of all the shit they've said, like his fat whale wife and Abba milking himself and getting his ass ate. Even on Rumble, we'll beat the soy mentality. You know, it's really funny how on Friday nights, a lot of the guys that Sneako criticizes, you know, on a Friday night, me and my wife were out on the town. On a Friday night, Sneako is out there looking for looking for clips of Abba milking himself and getting his ass eaten, or at least talking about it. Sounds pretty beta to me, brother. I'm just saying, it sounds like alpha shit. God damn. Now, while Sneako likes to take it to the streets and whip his little Glock around thinking that he's hard, anytime YouTubers actually want to challenge Sneako to a fight, for instance, like Brandon Buckingham, who fits his weight class exactly, actually matches his viewership and popularity, would absolutely, you know, I would bet money on Brandon winning, could challenge him to a fight. Sneako decides to back out and make jokes at home. But one thing that's interesting is Sneako, without any form of critical thought, is also somebody that spreads around false allegations. Sneako showcases a message sent to him by Brandon Buckingham. So obviously, to clarify, Sneako has not signed to box. He has refused to fight because I'm on his dick. What a pitiful excuse. Your main channel is literally dying, and you desperately cling to this alpha male red pill persona that is completely fabricated. I used to rock with and support this dude, but on God, it's fuck him from now on. I'll be in NYC in July, Nico. Come watch me lick shots on your busted girl. Whole gang is gonna run the train on her like she asked us to last time I was in town. I know you love controversy and beef. How do you like this pressure? Now, of course, anybody could read that and just say, bro, the boys and I are going to come gangbang your girl. Obviously, when he's saying shit like she asked us to last time I was in town, his joke implies explicit consent at this point. Now, of course, Sneako decides to be so butthurt about this, he actually spreads really harmful false allegations. Listen closely.
Yo, you know who's an L-Mans? Brandon Buckingham.
Oh, yeah.
That guy sucks. I'm gonna... Bro, literally said, I'm gonna R-word your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Literally said that. This dude said he is going to R-word my girlfriend. Bro, nothing warrants saying I'm gonna R-word your girlfriend. That's some school shooter vibes, bro. Yeah, that's some white... That's some school shooter vibes.
Okay. First off, the R word that Sneako is referring to is rape. Okay, I'm just gonna say it outright. I hate it when these like YouTubers act like they're against the matrix and against the grain and, ooh, I'm not scared of the demonetization when they really are. Just say the word rape, okay? You don't have to R-word it. All right, I hate it when people play like, you know, hooked on phonics with this kind of stuff. Just say it where it is, Sneako, okay? Rape, that's what you were saying, right? That's the implicit explanation. That's the allegation you were putting onto another person. Willy-nilly. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, I don't really care if my video gets demonetized. I live outside the matrix, unlike some of these losers, so I don't really care. My main operations of business is outside of YouTube. If I get a video demonetized, which a lot of these videos really do because of their, you know, clipped nature of them, yeah, I don't really care. Now, unfortunately, it seems like for Sneako, when he was on YouTube, absolutely confided with the system up until his banning, when he absolutely stopped giving a crap about filtering his content and actually platformed some really dangerous conspiracy theories and ideas that were so explicitly against TOS that he got banned. I just want to let you know, it's not hard to not get banned on the internet, okay? Destiny, for instance, invites some of the wildest characters on his streams, and sometimes when he will get a strike, it's probably for a video that he let run unfiltered. Generally, you can get away with saying edgier stuff or talking about edgier things on the internet, but when you just platform really, really criminal ideas and really, really heavy misinformation, no shit the private platform is gonna slap you on the wrist, dumbass. But of course, I just wanted to make that point here. Going back to it, just whittling back a few minutes, obviously Sneako is kind of an idiot making false rape allegations, and we're just gonna leave it at that, okay? Just another example of how the man keeps catching L's. Now, when we're talking about bot behavior, ladies and gentlemen, I think nothing screams bot to me than Sneako failing to actually research points. Now, in this clip with Destiny, Sneako is actually talking about the ideas of wearing seatbelts and how sometimes wearing a seatbelt can actually be more dangerous than not wearing one. Again, this is heavy misinformation. If you're driving a car, always wear your seatbelt. But we'll get into exactly what the logic is on Sneako's end. Let's watch this clip.
You can get into a collision, and if you have a seatbelt on, then you can get trapped in the car and the car can catch on fire. But sometimes if you're not wearing a seatbelt, there's instances where people have like literally flown out the windshield because they weren't wearing a seatbelt and they survived. But a seatbelt could trap you in there.
What do you think is more common?
I mean, I don't know what's more common, but it's uncomfortable and it's just...
Do you lock your car? Do you lock your car at night?
I think I'll be fine.
I'm not asking if you're fine. I'm asking you to use your brain. Do you lock your car at night?
Yeah.
Why? You're not guaranteed to get robbed. In fact, probably most likely you won't.
Yeah, but it takes 1 second and it doesn't make me uncomfortable to lock my car. Wearing a seatbelt makes me uncomfortable.
What a pussy! Oh, the seatbelt makes me uncomfortable. This is the alpha man that people were hyping up. The seatbelt scares you. Oh, the seatbelt bothers you a little bit. It makes you drive a little uncomfortable. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to wearing seatbelts, I'm not, I wouldn't consider myself the manliest man in the world, but wearing a seatbelt's never made me feel weird. Now, of course, what Sneako is talking about is a very rare exception of sometimes when God doesn't want you to die, you'll fly out your window, you might get injured a little bit, but maybe you'll survive. He's talking about some real survivorship bias levels of thinking. These are very, very, very anecdotal situations where you could survive, but generally, what's more common is in a head-on collision, if you're not wearing your seatbelt, chances are you die a lot quicker. You have a higher chance of dying. Now, how do I know this? Well, I'm going to do what Sneako refuses to do. I'm going to look up the actual information from the National Highway Transport Safety Administration, okay? A government research branch that has actually done the reading on this. Now, of course, estimating the potential fatalities. So, of course, they even got formulas for this. So if we whip out the old TI-83 real quick, they actually have, hard, full statistics for what happens to you when it comes to wearing your seatbelt, right? Now, of course, just to make it a little bit easier, there's places that have parsed this information that is much more readable for bots. So I'm going to show this real quick, okay? An estimated 14,955 lives were saved in 2017 by wearing a seatbelt. Vehicle occupants are 30 times more likely to be ejected during a car accident if not wearing a seatbelt. This statistic becomes more alarming when you realize that most ejection accidents are fatal. In fact, about 3/4 of people ejected in a crash die. Now, again, Sneako is referring to the 25% of people that don't die. He's also not referring to the very small percentage of people that don't probably end up paralyzed from the waist down after they've been in that impact. Again, this is somebody that's looking at this statistic right here, seatbelt usage by state. So for instance, he's looking at it, right? Like in California, 96% of people use their seatbelts. In fact, nationwide, 90% as of 2017 were wearing the seatbelt. See, Sneako looks at this and thinks, this is probably just blue-haired SJW woke fests that are wearing their seatbelt. I'm going to be part of the 10% red pill canceled people that are going against the grain. See, Sneako's brain level and his thinking pretty much relies on this aspect, okay? As long as you got that blue hair, you're part of the big majority, the bots, if you will, the SJWs, the crazy feminists, and whatever you say, he has to be the exact counterculture of, because as we saw earlier in his community, they will not accept any aspect of him deciding to critically think for himself. He has to be completely insane, conspiracy-brained, all the way to the very end of the limits. He can't find a way out of it. Now, the only level of actual critical thinking that he might have done is probably when he defended Cuties. Now, of course, if you want some context, Cuties is a weird movie released by Netflix, or not released, but, well, actually released, but they never had anything to film it. It was an independent movie that they bought the rights to distribute. And the movie was effectively about little girls, right? The movie actually sexualized little girls for the big screen. You could watch it right now. And they spread it out to the mainstream masses. Now, obviously, the movie, if you watched it, again, for full context sake, was actually against this idea. In fact, even in the movie, anytime the girls participated in TikTok and danced around, and then they participated in like the climax in the movie, throughout the movie, there was always juxtaposing situations where she was getting punished, or there was like clashes of hyper-conservative society kind of, cutting this thing. And she was, the girl, the main character, was launched in the middle of it. Now, of course, the general response is, no matter what the movie's intention and message were, they still sexualize little children on camera for everyone to watch in a movie. So again, whatever point the movie was trying to make is null and void because they violated their own rules in doing so. Again, let's watch Sneako's defense over here. This is a much younger Sneako. Let's listen to this.
Okay, if I ever wanted to get canceled, this is the video. I saw Cuties last night, and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I went in ready to hate like everybody else. I saw the cover, and I got clickbaited. So did you. You got clickbaited. This is one of the movies that's gonna age well. Like right now, the
Oh God, that actually hurts to hear. It's gonna age well. Jesus Christ.
outrage is really strong, so saying something like this video probably already has half dislikes. And I even tweeted like, Cuties is clickbait. This was a pretty good movie. And everybody replying like, I'm unfollowing you. This is the limit, Sneako. This is the limit. I can guarantee.
Now, of course, you've only seen like this portion of the clip. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to paraphrase it. Sneako said basically what I just said a minute ago about the movie. It has juxtapositions. And obviously the message of the filmmaker was that this sexualization of children is bad on social media, so on and so forth. Again, it all gets completely dissolved and thrown out in the water when just a little bit of extra critical thinking will let you know that the movie, in fact, still sexualized children. So again, the whole idea of defending this movie, you can't do because the movie broke its own rules. It literally produced what I would consider to be soft-core material for just the weirdest types of people to consume off of a mainstream platform. It's an objectively terrible way to handle this message, and it could have been done in a much, much safer fashion. But again, this is a prime example of what Sneako is all about. He's a provocateur. He's the clown. He's the guy that pisses his pants in public and says he was only pretending to be brain dead. So of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is somebody that knows how to basically make a viral clip. If it's one thing that you can't blame Sneako for is he knows the algorithm, he knows how to get people talking about him. What Sneako doesn't realize is not all attention is ultimately good attention. See, in his mind, he thinks that the more people that talk about him, whether it be negative or positive, it'll all get flown into his Creativity Kit 2.0. And while yes, some of that's true, it's not a sustainable business model. Sneako currently has lost his million-plus YouTube channel and currently resides to about 200,000 followers on Rumble. He doesn't get bad viewership. A month ago, he made a video where he got like 16K views. All right, definitely a big drop off from what he used to have. But if we're looking through his channel nowadays, he is getting around 59,000 views, 65,000, 135,000 for some videos. So it's not crazy viewership, but I'm sure it's enough for him to survive off. Again, He has to really hope this number stays and rises, otherwise his career and his future might just taper off into complete irrelevancy. I think what's more sadder in this situation, and even sadder than Sneako basically looking at an IQ test, looking at 95 and taking it to heart, given the fact that IQ tests really don't mean a whole heck of a lot in my opinion. But what's really sad about this situation, one of the things that kind of made me feel really bad for him, was how this entire rabbit hole has kind of reflected on him. Forget losing your channels and whatnot, and I'm sure that he'll like to say the canceled life is great because right now he's in Dubai, he's on like some yachts or whatever. I don't know how sustainable that is once Andrew Tate falls into further irrelevancy, and so will Sneako, because if it's one thing Sneako doesn't have, it's the charisma of the Tates. See, Andrew Tate knows how to like play people. He knows the charisma well. Sneako is not funny, he's not charismatic, and honestly, aside from the fact that he's like Andrew Tate light, nobody's gonna take this man entirely seriously. But one of the things that hurts me is how his own family doesn't even want to be around him.
It's like a China buffet near me and they were closed, so I was pissed off, so.
That's what Jews usually eat on Christmas, is some Chinese place. Do you know that this is the first year I'm not going home for Christmas? They don't, I have blue hair, woke family, kind of like you, and they don't fuck with my politics at all.
I mean, it doesn't take a blue hair people to not want to fuck with your politics. Like the
It's never got to the point. It's never got to the point where I've been like uninvited for Christmas.
Now, of course, you know it's gotten too far when even your family members don't want to have you over for a holiday because you can't stop talking about how evil the blue hair feminazis are. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, how long does it take for you to actually log off the internet and look at the world around you and think, maybe I'm the goddamn idiot? But of course, then again, Sneako is so embroiled in this rabbit hole that he's in, and it's why I was researching the whole manosphere, right? Like, once you get into these rabbit holes, it's incredibly difficult to get out, because in Sneako's mind, he genuinely believes the shit that he says. He genuinely believes that everyone is a bot, and the slightest criticism of him is just the Matrix attacking him and canceling him. And once you started thinking like that, getting out of that line of logic is incredibly difficult. And the only reason Sneako stands out to me is compared to the other people that fall down this rabbit hole, he genuinely has the ability to critically think. You know, people like Aiden Ross are complete buffoons. People like Sneako might be buffoons, but they clearly have the ability, or at least they showed the ability, to rationally think about situations, at least early on in their lives. And that's why it's painful looking at it now. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, one thing to also say is Sneako is successful because no matter how you want to cut it, the more I've researched this, people like Sneako and the Tates and so on and so forth are the only people that are trying to speak to a very to a group of young guys, maybe gals as well too, that are falling into like this MG Tao incel pipeline. And for a lot of them, they really don't have leaderships. You know, there's really no father figure in this situation. And I guess for me, it's easy to look at it from the outside looking in because I do have a great relationship with my dad and I was raised right. But generally for these people, there's nobody on like the general sense talking to these people. Maybe like Destiny, maybe Abba and Preach, maybe a few creators. But generally, those guys are only catered to by these individuals out there. Look, I'm going to say it like it is, okay? Before I end this whole video, I just want to give my thoughts out. As somebody, I'm not considering myself the most manliest man in the world, but I'll give you an example. I've been working since I was 16, okay? I've never taken a day off since then. I've always been in a job, and you know, my first few years, all I was doing was working. I was a wagey, I made my money, and I lived very, very frugally, meaning I had nothing. I had money, but I had no asset, no nothing, no fun. I saved up my money and I was able to start my first little business with friends. And then from there, I was learning how to snowball my money. And it wasn't until my late 20s, I'm 28 now. I spent most of my 20s trying to build myself up and make myself financially, strong, financially stable. The point I'm trying to make here is there is a lot of giving up of your personal life you have to do. Being somebody that's successful like these individuals isn't taking a get-rich-quick route and profiteering off of e-commerce solutions and stupid stocks and crypto investments. It is working your ass off. It's making legitimate sacrifices to make a better version of yourself that you can then sell to the people around you. Now, of course, these people like to talk about getting the girls, getting the yachts, getting everything. But generally, you gotta work hard. For Sneako, the only actual interaction that I've ever had with him and an actual talk was with Destiny, Abba, and Preach. And it was about like the idea of colleges and if colleges are stupid and making TikTok videos is better. And the idea is generally the best advice I can give you in that situation is figure it out for yourself. Look at the safest possible route. Going to a trade school, going to a university. Maybe YouTube will work, but you gotta kind of do it in the beginning and take it off. You can't bank on doing social media stuff and making a crap ton of money there. Even if Sneako will tell you there's a lot of money to be made, only a very small percentage of people actually succeed on these platforms. And of course, when it comes to women and it comes to relationships, the whole idea I can say is nobody entitles you to any relationship. At the end of the day, you have to work on yourself as a person and you can't expect everything. There's going to be points in your life where you'll absolutely succeed and points where you absolutely might fail. And as a man, you're going to have to learn to accept that, and you're going to have to accept that a lot of it comes from your shortcomings. I think a lot of the problems that I get out of this manosphere red pill world is a lot of people blame the Matrix, so to speak, or women, or the people around them. When in reality, as my father taught me, most of your problems stem from yourself, okay? If nobody wants to date you, if nobody wants to give you a job, if you can't find a job, chances are it's probably not the world, it's not the women, it's not the systemic issue. It might ultimately come down to you as a person. In fact, 99% of the time, that might just be the case. So all I can really do is, before I end this, is say, if you're somebody that's young and you're falling into these traps where you're looking into these guys and their toxic ways for a way out, then ultimately you have to really, really sit yourself down in front of the mirror, okay? Actually ask yourself, am I the best version of who I can be? And if you're not, all right, if you are not, it's time to work on yourself. Look, if Sneako tells you, go to the gym, get fit, he's telling you the right things. If Sneako tells you, give up college, give up school, go to YouTube, definitely reconsider a lot of those situations. But again, I'm kind of rambling on over here. This marks the end of my Sneako video. This marks the end of my entire descent into looking into this manosphere bullshit. For me, I'm going to back out. I'm going to go cover creepy content. I have a 4chan video coming out probably tomorrow, the day after or something. But I've spent a year looking into this kind of stuff. And honestly, the only thing I'll ever make regarding this kind of content might be when Andrew Tate goes to prison or goes away scot-free on charges. It's the only thing that I worry about from this entire community. Other than that, there's not much I can say. This whole thing comes to an end. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.